Welcome back to Edgework, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Alex Moretto, joined here today by So Money for a bigger Tuesday card, a better Tuesday card, some big games in the Eastern Conference playoff race and the Western Conference playoff race. Maybe not necessarily the best card from a betting standpoint, but we will break all that down and see what we can come up with here, as well as throw together a nice no-goal parlay again. So Money, 1-1 last night on our best bets. The Dustin Wolf Calder campaign maybe came to a screeching halt as he was pulled in Toronto, leaving it to Lane Hudson and Macklin Celebrini to kind of duel it out here. It's funny. You see the betting markets still strongly believe that it'll be Celebrini's award. And then you go on Twitter and it's like the rhetoric almost is like Celebrini's not even in the race. It's so funny to see how like people who don't bet view it compared to like the actual markets themselves. But I don't know. What did you make of the games last night? Any takeaways, anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, like there was, you look at the Calgary game, we know that Calgary's on the downswing right now. We expected it to be a tighter game yesterday, but I mean, these are the Leafs, right? They like show up for these kind of games. The Flames are gonna continue their struggle right now. We got what we expected out of Buffalo. Boston is going to be a tight game. That's the reason why we needed the plus money on the Sabres there. And yeah, Minnesota, LA. I thought LA actually played a good game there. That game just became a coin flip there. So yeah, I mean nothing really to take away there. Nothing stood out there except that maybe Calgary's free fall is gonna impact them defensively as well.
Yeah. Honestly, like a lot of power play goals in that Toronto game too. But like the Leafs did generate a good amount of 5 and 5 too. Calgary just looks so dead right now. And that's terrible because I have obviously a big need for the Flames to try and get a couple points here tonight from the Rangers to help my Habs out. And I have absolutely zero faith in that happening. We couldn't even get Wolf to play the full game last night to at least have Vladar be fully rested. It's like just limping into New York tonight. So too bad for that one. Happy birthday to Jeremy Quinn as well in the chat. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending a little bit of it with us. We appreciate it. All right. Let's get into tonight's games here in a second. Before we do, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same-game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all of your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Miss puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. We will start in New York, the game I was just talking about, where the Flames are visiting the New York Rangers. Rangers minus 230, Flames plus 188, total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over, plus 100 to the under. So Money, do I have any reason to be optimistic for the Flames' chances tonight, or is this going to be a very straightforward 2 points for the New York Rangers?
So, I mean, it should be a straightforward 2 points for the Rangers, but we know it doesn't always work out that way, especially with a team like the Rangers that really shouldn't be priced like this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, yeah, there's definitely value on the Flames here. It's just a matter of are they able to tighten this game up enough to just make it a coin flip, and then at that point you just hope for the best. So At this point in the season, that's not the way I like to bet these teams and these games. Once we get into the stretch run here, so nothing for me here. The under, and I mean 6 at the -120s. That does make sense, but it's not something that I'm really excited about here. So I will let this game go. Rangers should get the 2 points, but I think we're both cheering for the Flames here.
Yes, I think we definitely both are. It
Different
is a
reasons.
big number for different reasons. Yeah. This is a big number for the Rangers to lay. I mean, even with the Flames on a back-to-back with travel, like it's also a bad spot for Calgary, realistically. When you think, I mean, for the Rangers too, when you think about it, like they've been home since Sunday, but this is their third game in 4 nights. This is their 7th game in 11 nights. They're not exactly a rested team either. They have been playing a lot of hockey, but the schedule does get really light for them coming up. Honestly, really pisses me off looking at their schedule. I did a bit of a deep dive into it. They have a lot of nights off down the stretch, and that's because they have played more games up to this point, so that is fair. But they also they get the Leafs on Thursday after the Leafs have played the night before against the Avs. Like they're getting a lot of teams in the second half of back-to-backs. Schedule is kind of really kind for them down the stretch. But yeah, in terms of the total, like I guess I would lean under, but like honestly, Calgary, their defense has been weaker, and I talked about how they're just getting the goaltending to kind of mask it. When they don't, we saw last night how ugly it can get. And the Rangers kind of similar. Like they are playing better team defense, but again, they rely so heavily on goaltending. So like a bet to this under is kind of betting on the goalies to kind of steal some saves and take some goals away. And I'm just not really comfortable doing that at this price. So nothing for myself here either. We will go into the game of the night, perhaps the game of the season, maybe the biggest regular season game for the Habs that I can remember in some time since pre-COVID, I would say for sure, or at least that COVID shortened season where they had the North Division and they kind of had to scramble late to make the playoffs. Definitely the biggest game in a long time for these Montreal Canadiens at home to their rival Senators. Habs plus 115, Sens minus 138, total of 5.5 plus 102 to the under, minus 124 to the over. There is plus money on these under 5.5 pretty much across the board. And the Habs have taken a tad of money maybe since the open. It's kind of just hanging around really. Under's taking a little bit of money. So money. Do you like anything in this one? Are you riding with your Ottawa Senators here and driving this price up a little bit? You think there's some room to run here or what?
Not at the current number. I think we're fair where we are right now. I would if Ottawa gets a little bit cheaper, I would be more inclined towards that side, obviously, right? I do come in higher on the Senators, that's no secret. But we're not there yet. Ottawa's playing very well. They're finding their game now. Opponent doesn't matter, class of the opponent doesn't matter. They've really found their game, and as they've gotten healthy here, they've started coming into their own. Montreal, they played a great game against Florida. That's the exact kind of game that Montreal needs to play in order to be successful. The problem is, again, with these teams in around the bubble, you just can't expect them to bring that kind of game every single night because they're not at that level where they can hit their ceiling every night, right? So Saturday's game was a ceiling game for the Habs. Generally speaking, for these kind of teams, it's really tough to replicate that. So I do like Ottawa here in terms of the side, but I do need to get it a little bit cheaper. We're not there yet. If we get a low, even a mid -120s on Ottawa, I'd be there. But right now, I think it's fair right now.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I would counter and say that I think Ottawa's due for a little bit of regression themselves as well. They're one of those teams that, we talk about how these teams there's going to be a bunch of runs for these kind of bubble teams. Ottawa's not a bubble team. They're a playoff team, but I still do think they're not quite at that Leafs, Tampa, Florida tier for sure. They're definitely below that. So I do expect them to regress a little bit at 1.2. We have seen them be very, very streaky all season. So we'll see if Omar can keep it up. We'll see how they keep it up. I do like an under here. Stylistically, like, and everything. I was really hoping for a better number. I was really hoping to get like a 6 minus 120. And we just never quite have been able to get that price. So I'm probably just going to hold off. Habs did play a really good defensive game on Saturday, and now I know that was kind of the outlier. They have been a little bit leakier lately defensively, but like Sens playing strong defense, quickly trending back to kind of being that under team we've had them pegged out for stretches this season. I know the recent scores haven't really reflected that, but I do think the goals are going to kind of slow down a little bit. They're shooting over 14% in March. That is second in the NHL, tied with the Avs, just behind the Stars. They're just under a 10% shooting team on the season. So like to be shooting 14 for a while is something that's going to regress for sure. They don't have the same talent as those other teams that are shooting that high. I think the 10% is kind of about right for them. So I would expect that to drop. I would expect this to be a tight sort of tense game. Sens definitely skew heavily that way on the road, and the Habs are obviously very comfortable playing that way. And when they face these good teams, and yes, like I am painfully calling Ottawa a good team.
There you go.
The Habs do play tighter and put an emphasis on defense for sure. It's those games against like the Kraken, the Sabres, the Sharks that kind of open up a little bit more and get a little bit wild. And like we talked about before, they do morph to the style of their opponents, right? They're matchup dependent. I think the Sens on the road here are going to want to play a tight sort of professional road game, and I do expect the Habs to match that. I would have really hoped for a better number on this under. I don't hate it at 5.5 plus money, but like it would be more of a lean at that point, or like something worthy of a small play than a full bet. So we will just leave that one alone for now. We will move on to maybe the worst game of the night. The Pens minus 115 at home to these Islanders. Islanders minus 104, total of 5.5 plus 100 to the under, minus 122 to the over. So Money, are you going to help people be a little bit more interested in this game with a bet here, or are we just going to pretend this game doesn't even exist?
No. I think we need to. This game does exist. I was just looking that. It's just fascinating to me that the Isles are 4 points out of a playoff spot. They're 4 points behind the Rangers, and they've played 2 less games. That's just wild to me. But again, the problem with the Isles is that they're just not playing well right now. We're gonna get Jari in net for the Penguins. He's rejuvenated his career, and it's really nice to see. I like seeing stuff like that from athletes. So it's nice that he's able to get some run here. I did play the Penguins. I like the Penguins up to minus 115. I like the way that they're playing right now. It starts on defense with them, which they've been okay defensively. Last game was a lot better against the Devils. A few games before that, they needed Jari to kind of bail them out, and yeah, he was right there. So Penguins up to minus 115, still like it. Islanders, they came back against Florida. It looked like a nice win on paper, but the reality is that they did not play well that game. They haven't been playing well. Even before the Florida game, they had lost 3 straight, and they didn't look good. Before that, they had 1-2 against Winnipeg and San Jose, and they didn't look good there either. So this is a team, I think, that 4 points out of a playoff spot is very deceiving with where they are and how they're playing. So I expect the Islanders to kind of drop off a little bit farther here, and I think the Penguins are a good team to jump on them and take advantage of the way that they're playing. So there's a disconnect here between, in my opinion, between where we're pricing them in the market and where these teams actually are. So so I'm on the Penguins here, and I'm there up to minus 115.
Okay, so we will lock in Pens up to minus 115. I'm kind of sitting this one out. I tend to have a slightly different view on this Pens team. I don't know. I just think that they have been getting the goaltending now lately, but they still really haven't looked good. That Devils game was their first actual good outing in a while. Just such an erratic, inconsistent team. Even the goaltending, like we've seen the resurgence from Jari, but I'm still not sold. We've seen the Delkovich go on this like runs like this before. We've seen it from this team. But also that being said, this is a lot of market respect for the Isles as well. So I think it's just kind of a game that I think has so much variance. One that I'm going to sit out, but now I will be cheering on the Pens for yourself and for the sake of the show. So thank you for getting me invested in a game I originally wanted to have zero interest in. But we will go ahead and lock in the Pens, and we will say that's good up to -115. We will move on to the Wings and the Caps. I really need the Caps here as well for my Habs to make this playoff push more exciting. Caps -160, Wings now +132 as they have taken money all morning here. Total of 6.5 +104 to the over, -128 to the under. Are you part of this Wings money at all?
No, I'm not part of this money here. We're gonna get Logan Thompson for the Caps here. Yeah, I get why the market would like the Wings here. It is a big number on the Caps. I just don't agree with it. I think that I do come in lower on the Wings, and granted they are playing well, and we've talked about these teams that they do go on runs. So it is possible that this could be a start of a Detroit run here after they looked very, very good against the Vegas team. Albeit Vegas was tired there. That wasn't a good spot for the Knights, but Detroit took advantage and they looked really good. So I can see I can appreciate the market respect. I just don't agree with it. That being said, I'm not on the Caps either. I do need them to get a bit lower, and I don't see a drop off in the Caps. That's a very focused team right now, and I mean, like, yeah, they could be in bad situations here and there, but you're not going to get a bad effort from Washington at this point, right? They're in general, they're a very well coached, focused team. So if you're looking to kind of get a flat Washington team, it's possible, but I would need more than that to a bet on the Red Wings. So I will ultimately end up passing on this game. The total looks good to me as well. Detroit, I know they want to play a little bit more defensively, and Washington will have no problem doing that. It's just that does Detroit have the horses to play a defensive game the whole time? And I just don't know if they do.
Yeah, just a couple small things, I guess, to add. I think the only way you're kind of potentially getting a down game from Washington, because I agree they are very focused, and we saw a dip earlier after the Four Nations break, but they're right back to playing very, very good hockey again. I think the only way you do get that dip is just historically this first game back home after that sort of California West Coast road trip can be a difficult spot for teams at times. Yeah. But again, a team this good and this well coached, they seem to have their eyes on the prize right now. I wouldn't necessarily bank on that being the case either. Both teams are also generating a lot right now offensively. I think it could turn out to be a very open game with plenty of chances sort of traded back and forth because, we've seen the Wings struggle defensively. They have been playing better defensively, but we've seen them struggle defensively when they step up like this. So against a team that can generate like Washington can, it could get away from them a little bit and just sort of force the game to open up. But yeah, I'm not betting a juiced over 6 in this case either. So I think the price is kind of fair. You can see why the Detroit money came in. It was a big number from the open, but again, it wasn't. It's one of those cases where I still didn't want to jump in front of it. Even if you are maybe getting a little bit of value on the Wings, I still like the way this Caps team is playing right now. So nothing for either of us in that one. We will move on to the Ducks and the Stars. Ducks plus 285. Stars minus 365. Struggling a little bit with this Mikko Rantanen effect. Seems like everywhere he's going right now, these teams are taking a bit of a hit in the standings. Total of 6.5 plus 110 to the over, minus 134 to the under. This is more so a game where I wanted to bet an over, and I did. Well, I did bet an over. I wanted to give out an over. It looks like it's kind of gone now. I bet it this morning. Best price I'm seeing on 6 is minus 116, minus 115. Honestly, maybe I could still get involved at that number. I I think, all right, I think that's okay. I don't mind it still. That's like probably like the edge of the range there, minus 115, minus 116. I mean, their offense has been unstoppable at home. I know they haven't been scoring as much, but this is their first game back from a road trip. On home ice, they have been scoring a ton. They've been generating a ton, and I think the Ducks are pretty unlikely to provide much resistance there. And defensively, the Stars just kind of remain a mess. Like, that's not going to fix itself overnight. They just need to get guys back. They need to get, Heiskanen back. There's definite, DeSmith potential here as well, the way they've been deploying the goalies. I think Dallas should just be able to kind of name their number. I think the Ducks should be able to contribute here as well, because they've been able to generate, and they're fine playing these sort of back and forth open games. Or even if they're not fine with it, they don't really have the ability to stop it. I think these Stars overs have still been pretty lucrative. We are getting to a point now where this number has run quite a bit, but I think there's just enough value left for us to get in here on an over 6, minus 116. We will bet that at. Are you in agreement there on the total? Are you in disagreement? Are you joining Jordan here with a quack and fading the Stars as they're kind of going through it a little bit right now?
I'm neutral on the total, but I'm just waiting for the number to get a little bit higher. But at this point in the plus 300s, I am going to do half a unit on the Ducks. It's just, the number is just too high, right? Like, with the way that with the way Dallas is playing right now, I think that we do need to take a shot here, right? I don't expect this to win, right? But it's just that the number is just too high with the way that these teams are playing. Yes, the Ducks struggle as well. The Ducks aren't playing well either, but this number, the way I look at this number is that where like the market views this is that we acknowledge the Ducks aren't playing well, but this number views Dallas as playing well right now, which they are not, right? So that's why it is inflated right now. And the Ducks are a feisty team, right? Like, I mean, they don't have the horses to win this game the majority of time, but I think that all I want from this game is a feisty Ducks effort and to keep it tied or a 1-goal game as long as possible. That's all I'm looking for in this game with this price. So Ducks for half a unit. I'm in. Let's get disgusting there.
Let's get disgusting. Maybe we'll go half unit Ducks, half unit minus 1.5 Anaheim. Really get disgusting here on a Tuesday. That's what Tuesdays used to be for, but we've gotten pretty tame as we get older here. So we will lock in the Ducks, and we will lock in. Wiser and older. We will lock in the Ducks and the over in that game. Then we will move on to the Blues and the Preds, the Central Division showdown here, as the Blues try and stay in the playoff race. Minus 114 in Nashville. Preds minus 105. Total of 5.5. Minus 115 to the over, my under. I mean, I think I know where your head's at here. I think I know where my head's at here. The Preds are playing really good hockey, though. Are you actually getting involved with the Blues? Are you fading this Preds team, or you think maybe the number's kind of fair where it's at right now, just given how well both of these teams are playing? This is a game between the two teams that have played the best hockey, pretty much, in terms of the underlying metrics, at least since the Four Nations break. A testament to how Nashville has kind of turned it around a little here, despite the season completely getting away from them. Where's your head at with this one?
I think that the Predators kind of peaked. They were playing well. They had a good stretch there. They've lost against Anaheim, which I thought that they played well in that game. I don't think they necessarily deserve to lose that game. And then that game against actually I think I have it wrong here. Did they beat Anaheim, right?
They pull it up now.
No,
they lost Anaheim on Friday. We had the Ducks. I'm thinking about it was Friday night. We had the Ducks in that one.
Yeah. So they did lose to Anaheim, but the way that I scored this game, I thought that Nashville deserved that win. So I do like the Blues here. I just needed it to be a little bit cheaper here. So so right now I would need minus 105 on the Blues. we're not there yet. So I think at this point it's fair. But if it does get a little bit cheaper, then I would come in on the Blues here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to bet the Blues, but I don't want to force it at kind of a bad number, and that's kind of what it would feel like here. They're both. I mean, they've both been off since March 1st. They're 1-2 in the NHL and expected goal share at 5-on-5. I mean, Blues are doing it against much better competition though, and they kind of played a gauntlet of teams. They played really well against those great teams. Preds have basically played no one before that Kings game on Saturday, which they lost 1-0. They've had a very, very light schedule. And like I was saying with the Caps, this is kind of a tough spot here for Nashville in that first game back home after that California road trip. So I still think this is largely a dead team, despite how much better they've been playing. But they are playing well enough still to scare me off at this number. I would want a better number if I was actually gonna bet the Blues here. I also think for as well as Nashville has kind of played over this stretch, they still are a team that struggles to know how to win games, which is surprising for a veteran team. But they're just not able to consistently turn good performances into wins. And that is something that is noteworthy as well, because there is a science to winning hockey games in the NHL, and they clearly do not have that down right now, which is a problem as well. But yeah, would need a little bit cheaper to bet the Blues here. I think the total is fine where it is as well. So nothing for us in this game. It isn't exactly the best card. I don't have a ton of bets tonight. Not going to change too much down the stretch either, but it is what it is. We don't want to force anything on this show either. We will move on to another Islanders Pens game where the Kraken are taking on the Blackhawks in Chicago. Blackhawks plus 130, Kraken minus 156, total of 5.5, minus 140 to the over, plus 114 to the under. You've broken up with your Seattle Kraken. Are you still somewhat in love with these Blackhawks, or are you have no interest in betting this game either way?
It's tough. Seattle's inflated here, right? I mean, like we're minus 150 on the road, right? Like that's really tough. The problem is that Seattle, as bad as they've been this year, they are starting to play well, and Chicago is just brutal right now. They can't get anything going. So yeah, I will reluctantly pass on this game. I do want the Blackhawks. But yeah, I will end up passing here.
You're gonna bet a Bedard over 9.5 penalty minutes minus 200. Yeah, he's done back-to-back games now where he's had the 10-minute misconduct. I do lean a little bit towards the over here, but again, like just not quite getting prices that I would want to get for these. I thought we would get a better number on this total, but we're really not. And the market is kind of at what I think is a fair price. It's just like I've talked about how the Hawks are a different team at home for sure. Their offense has much more life. They are still a mess defensively no matter where they play, but at least they're entertaining at home. They score goals. I mean, trends are dumb. I'm not trying to, this is an arbitrary cutoff and all this stuff, and I don't even want to talk in trends, but 12 straight home games now, 12 straight NHL games played in Chicago for this Blackhawks team with at least 6 goals total. Like they do play some entertaining games at home, and the underlying numbers do match that. And the Kraken are a mess defensively. Like just sometimes they get the goal tending to mask it, but for the most part, they bleed chances. They're unable to tighten up. And Knight is kind of back to what we'd expect from him. Solid, but unspectacular. I was hoping for a better price on this 6 though, or like a juice 5.5, kind of minus 115, minus 120. And we're just not going to get that. So I will also sit this one out. Just don't want to force it. We're not in the business of forcing things on this show. So it is what it is.
It's a tough card.
Yeah, it is a tough card. It really is. We will move on to Utah and Edmonton. Utah plus 132 against these Oilers, minus 160. Total of 6.5, plus 106 to the over, minus 130 to the under. Are you forcing anything in this one, or do you like anything in this one? Side, total, anything?
I was just laughing at Charles' comment there. When you say bad boys of the NHL, you think Marchand, Bennett, Kachucks, Bedard.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, feel bad for that kid, man. He's so frustrated there right now. But I mean, that's what happens. Utah, Edmonton. I did bet Utah. Um, I just it's the number's too high. I think that the way that Utah's playing right now, they're not getting the run in the market that I think that they should. They're a very strong team right now, and they're playing like it. Edmonton, obviously, Edmonton's a better team. Clearly, Edmonton's a better team, but I think that the way that it's priced right now doesn't reflect the way that the Oilers are playing. So I think that Utah can I catch them here. And I did bet Utah. I like them. I got Utah down to plus 124. That actually surprised me as well. Even with how high I've come in on Utah a lot of times this year, I was still surprised that I was showing that much respect for the hockey clubs. So I did bet Utah, and it's just based on the number here. At this point in the season, we know who the teams are, right?
Yeah,
and the way that and the way that Edmonton's playing, I don't think that's been reflected in the market yet. So even in the win against the Rangers, I thought that they were pretty lucky to get that win there. So I don't like Edmonton's game. They're still finding their game right now, and the way that Utah's playing, I think that Utah can catch them here.
Yeah, fair enough. I definitely don't disagree with that. I didn't bet it myself, but I definitely would lean that way. I did bet the over in this game as well, though. Another over for myself tonight. Over 6 minus 115 is fine. You can should be able to still find that pretty widely available. I didn't bet it at that much better of a number anyway, so I'm definitely good with that. I think Utah's schedule is one that's kind of been what's kept me off Utah, just to talk about that before I talk about the total here, is I think their schedule's been soft since the Four Nations break in terms of like steps up. They played the Kings, a very injured and kind of different looking Devils team, and then a Leafs team that was in a tailspin. And, they did look solid in a couple of those games, but again, they lost all 3 of those games. Otherwise, they've kind of played no one. So I'm kind of taking things with a grain of salt here. Their team defense has obviously been the catalyst for their success since the break, but it's tailed off a little bit again. And when they play teams that can generate, they do give up a lot. We've really seen them get exposed kind of in some of these steps up in class defensively, at least. And, we know the Oilers can generate. And we know the Oilers still struggle in net and struggle to kind of keep the puck out. Even with Wallman in there where they've looked a little bit better, things can still get kind of hairy for them back there. So, I mean, to me, the Oilers are fine. I don't think there's reason for concern. It sounds like Ekholm will be back probably Thursday. Hyman should be back tonight, I would expect. And, since the break, the Oilers are shooting just 7% at 5-on-5. Only the Flames and the Wild have been worse. So, like, that's going to get better. I mean, it is like just no matter how you look at it, they have too much offensive talent to be shooting just 7% at 5-on-5 to be grouped in with teams like Calgary and Minnesota. That's going to come up for sure. I didn't just bet the over here because of that. I don't trust Utah these steps up to be able to contain Edmonton, and I still don't think the Oilers are playing a good enough team game right now to be able to limit Utah, and Utah is definitely capable of generating offense. Both these teams are. So I still believe in the potency of it there, and I think we should get a lot of chances kind of back and forth here. So that is why I bet this over. So we will lock in the Utah Hockey Club, and we will lock in this over 6 as we move into our final game of the night, where your Vancouver Canucks are at home to the likely President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets. I guess Jets minus 164, Canucks plus 136, total of 5.5 plus 100 to the over, minus 122 to the under. Are you backing your boys here?
No.
Simple no. Very, very quick and easy.
Yeah, so Canucks. Let's talk about the Canucks a bit.
Gather round.
Yeah, so it's tough because this team, like, they can't generate anything consistently. That win against Chicago, where they scored 6 goals, that was probably one of the more deceiving 6-goal game I've seen in a long time. They had nothing in that game. They ran into a goaltender who, I don't know if he had thoughts about the Roxy that night or what it was. Like, he just wasn't there. And I mean, the Canucks took advantage, but it's not as if they generated what you need to generate normally in this league to put up 6 goals, right? So that was very very deceiving there. And then we saw them kind of get back to what they are the next night against Utah, against a team that was able to um, was able to suffocate them. And I don't expect anything different here from Winnipeg. Um, Winnipeg is not Winnipeg, similar to the Capitals. They're not the kind of team right now that's going to take their foot off the gas. And we, even in a poor game against Seattle over the weekend, where it wasn't the effort, it was just that they didn't have it going that night. They still found a way, right? On the road in Seattle, in like a normal situation, a team that is where the Jets are positioned, they wouldn't necessarily push to win that game, right? It would just be, it's just one of those nights where we're a President's Trophy caliber team. Like, we don't need to get this one, right? But that's not their makeup right now. That's not their mentality. They are pushing for every game, and I don't expect the Canucks to get a break here. I think that the Jets are going to come in here, probably suffocate this team, and Canucks are just not playing well. They're not. It looks like that they're starting to check out. It looks like the coach has already checked out. It was a nice win in Calgary, but even that was a little bit deceiving as well. So I mean, like the common theme here is that when the Canucks win, they're needing to win lucky, all right, and that's really obviously tough to maintain in this league. Canucks unders have been good. We are seeing it inflated a little, well, not inflated, but the market's catching up a bit. So I think there's still some room to go here. 5.5 minus 125. I rarely do that, but we are there with these teams, and I think it's going to be a tight game. The Canucks need to keep it tight. Winnipeg has no problem keeping it tight, but I think it's going to be a low event game here.
So you want to go ahead and lock in the under?
Under 5.5, yeah.
Yeah, there is minus 120s available. There's offshore. There's even there's minus 118. There are some, so I think we can go ahead and kind of fairly lock it into minus 120 because should be available for most. Honestly, I agree with Jin Rami in what I think should be a low scoring, tight, low event game. It's a big number to be getting with this Canucks team. And I agree with you. You obviously know this team better than I do. But how many times has it looked like the Canucks were checked out and were done? And then they bounced back with a big performance. They were miserable against the Blackhawks in Utah, like just two really, really ugly games. And it's easy to now be like, yeah, maybe they're dead. But I feel like we've seen this before, and they always find a way to just bounce back with a really good game following that. I mean, we saw it against Dallas. We saw it in that game against Calgary, which was a massive game they really needed. They turned in one of their best performances. They deserved to win that game long before overtime or the shootout. I think they're still capable and have those high ceiling games. And I know they're on a lot of nights. It's pretty ugly, but I still do believe in the ceiling of this team. And we're just at a point now where the market is so down on them that you're getting a plus 146 now. I wouldn't be shocked if, we saw a plus 150 flash at one point even. I don't think you need to rush to bet this, but for the sake of the show, we're sitting at plus 146 right now at that book. And I think that's worth the bet in my opinion. So I will own that one. I will go ahead and track that. Underdog and under always makes sense. There's definitely obviously some correlation there as well. I just think there's a little bit of room. We're just getting to a point where they're just being really, really disrespected by market. And I do believe in the ceiling still. So hopefully they can kind of hit that ceiling and provide a response tonight. I think we will learn a lot about this team for sure here, though. If they can't elevate for a game coming off that Utah loss, if they cannot elevate here against Winnipeg, then it might be time to call the curtains on the season. I would agree.
Man, I hope you're right. right? I know that I tend to get a lot more pessimistic with the Canucks, and I mean like if you're ever gonna catch me with sports to be in like a overly emotional state, it would be with the Canucks. Like it's like the only team
Yeah,
it is the only team I care about. So yeah, I mean, hope you're right.
I get it. No, I do get it. It's hard to remove the emotion from it sometimes, for sure. Easy to be very pessimistic as fans, especially when you're fans of the teams that we're fans of, where you haven't had a lot to cheer about in a while. So I do.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it also has a lot to do with what I see here locally with like ownership and like the way that this team is being run.
Hmm.
It and compared to how this team was run when I was growing up, and like the difference between that with the new ownership that we've seen. But yeah, so it just makes it tougher for me. So yeah, I hope you're right.
I hope so too. I hope so too. I hope they win 2-1 and we can cash both of those bets. All right, I will recap the best bets. If everyone can start throwing some goal scores in the chat, I do have a no goal parlay as well, which we will get to after I recap these bets so far. That's funny. We don't like a lot of games, but 9 games tonight. We do have 7 bets, and they come in just 4 games. 6 of the bets in 3 games. We have 3 games where we have a side and a total in. So I find that a little bit funny. We're like, yeah, I don't like a lot of games tonight, and then here we are with like, seems like we like a ton, but they're still mostly coming from the same games here. But yeah, we have the Pens minus 110, Ducks plus 303 for half a unit there. We have the Ducks and Stars over 6 minus 116. Utah, Edmonton over 6 minus 115. Utah plus 134. Canucks plus 146. And the Jets, Canucks under 5.5 minus 120. And no bets on Habs Sens. Yes, although there is a residual Habs Sens bet here in our no goal parlay. So we will. I guess there's no point in burying that. We might as well get to the no goal parlay here tonight. Oh, Jordan, you're killing me with that suggestion. We'll get to that in a minute. Tonight's no goal parlay, though, we have Yegor Sharangovich, Patrick Laine, and Jonathan Marchessault. That is minus 115. A little bit of a chalky one tonight, but that is tonight's no goal parlay. Sharangovich, Laine, and Marchessault. Let's build a little anytime goal parlay here. I did see earlier we could stray slightly if we want. Ron wanted to recommend Falk anytime point, which we don't normally put into these parlays, but I mean, I don't see the harm. It's not like we're winning these parlays at any high rate. What do you think of a Falk point?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Let me see what the price is here. Yeah, plus 158 on FanDuel. I'm down. Why not? That
Is there
works
any
for me.
news in this game here, in this Pittsburgh game? What's going on here?
I've just got my spring training tabs up here, not my. Let's see. Nothing that I can see. It also would be weird timing for some news to trickle through.
Jari and Ned. They have a few
anything.
guys that are nicked up.
Huh. I mean, there's only a few guys that actually matter.
Everybody's nicked up though.
Yeah.
Isles just having their morning skate. No Romanov. Yeah, that's Sorokin is in the starters net, but we knew that 20 minutes ago though.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
I mean, the Isles have been getting a lot of market support too. We've seen them pretty regularly get kind of bet here. All right. So we will add the Falk point. Let's get some goals in here. We have a Hyman suggestion. I don't think he's 100% confirmed in, but we do have a number up at FanDuel. So worst case is that just voids that leg if he doesn't play. We do have an over there. You have Utah, but are you okay with a Hyman?
Yeah, I can.
All right, let's get Hyman in there. Let's see. We got Protus. Price, yeah, 310 at FanDuel.
Protus, yeah, that looks good.
I'm absolutely vetoing Dylan Cousins. It's just not happening. I'm not. There's no way. I can't do it. Pedersen Point. And no, I can't do Pedersen Point in what could be like a 2-1 game, a 1-0 game. That's tough. Well, it depends on the price, I guess. What is the price on that?
Yeah, that's
Pedersen is plus 102. It is plus 102 at FanDuel. I can't do that. How many likes do we have now? Just 2. We got Protus and Falk. Maybe we will just let's put Cousins in there.
There you go.
Oh, we got Hyman as well. You want to leave it at that? Or should we put Cousins almost as a reverse change?
Let's put Cousins.
Let's put Cousins in. Let's get a 4th leg. We'll put Cousins in, and then we'll call it at that. And then at least if he scores, I have mild reason to be okay with it. But realistically, I hope he absolutely does not score. Falk Point. Make sure you note that it is a Justin Falk point, not an anytime goal. Justin Falk point, and then Hyman goal, Protus goal, and Dylan Cousins goal at 121-1. That is tonight's anytime goal/point parlay. Reminder: the no goal parlay is Sharon Govich, Patrick Laine, and Jonathan Marchessault. That is -115. The best bets: Pens -110, Ducks +303, half a unit. Ducks Stars over 6 -116. Utah Oilers over 6 -115. Utah +134. Canucks +146. Jets Canucks under 5.5 -120. That will do it for us tonight or today. Jesus, I'm all over the place here. That'll do it for us today. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. We are back tomorrow, the 2 of us, with Rob Pizzola as well for a light slate, but we should have some fun breaking that one down at least. So appreciate everyone for tuning in today. If you guys can like the stream, just takes a very quick second. Would appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, I don't know why you wouldn't be at this point. Or if you're watching on Twitter, throw them a follow. Throw Edgework a follow on Twitter. Throw the Hammer Betting Network a follow on Twitter. Throw So Money a follow on Twitter. And yeah, appreciate it, everyone, for tuning in today. We'll see you again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, enjoy the game tonight, and good luck on your bets.